Guys, today we're going to talk about being prepared when that's really the last thing on your mind and you don't have the supplies you need. I mean, how many of us have been with friends over having a barbecue and the wife goes, "Hey, could you guys go grab some ice?" And you jump in his car, you take off, and you get the ice and you come back. No big deal. But what if there's an accident? What if something happens in those moments? Now for us, each of our family members have what we call the go bag. And we have a lot of the essentials. We have medical trauma kit supplies in those. We have some essential survival stuff. We have like a knife and flashlight, just some basic survival supplies, screwdriver, multi-tool, things like that, just to get us through. And we keep those in our car. We don't have to think about them. We can put it in a fairly, good sized bag, just like this little Maxpedition. We just throw it in the back and there it is. But what happens when we jump in the car with someone else that doesn't have the supplies we need? And honestly, we're just not thinking about it. This past weekend, my youngest son was spending the night with a good friend of his and another boy. There were 3 of them. And the other boy forgot some of his stuff, and he lived just a couple of miles from the house, so they jumped in the car, went and picked it up. On the way back, car pulls out in front of them. They have a major accident, totaled both cars. The car that my son was in, he was in the driver's seat. The only thing that stopped them from hitting this house that was down the hill was concrete furniture. Airbags deployed. I mean, both cars, total wreck. I mean, it was horrific. The incredible thing is no one was seriously injured. My son definitely was bruised up. He's still pretty sore, but he was fine. But coming up on that wreck was just, it just made your heart stop. He was not in his car. He was not with his go bag. He had no supplies. His friend had no supplies. If they had been in a real critical situation, having the right things, the right trauma gear, the right shears, whatever they needed, could have saved a life. The great thing is the first responders were there very quickly, fire, EMS, and law enforcement. One of the things that's really inspired me to make this video is, what do you do when you're out and you don't have anything with you to take care of things? Man, you're prepared at home. You have your bug out bag, you have your go bag in your car, you have your EDC kits, you have all your stuff. But when you're relaxed, you're not thinking. When your son's spending the night with a friend and he's in a car with him, and what supplies do they have? Today we're going to take a look at some things to have just on hand. Now for me, carrying around a bag like this just to run to the store, is kind of crazy. But let's think about 2020. What we've been through this year, whether it's hurricanes that are unseasonal, that are just coming up into the Gulf, whether it's West Coast that's just on fire, whether it's, of course, COVID-19 and all the things we've dealt with that, riots in the streets, protests. 2020 has turned out to be just something that's just unbelievable that you might find in a science fiction movie. And guys, to be honest, I don't think it's going to get any better before it gets worse. We have the 2020 elections coming up. So what I want to propose to you guys, and I think it's just important, is you're going to have to step it up. No, I don't normally grab this to go to the store with a friend of mine in his car, but maybe I should start thinking about it. So I decided to put together some kind of kit that my son can just put down in his backpack, whether it's an overnight pack, whether he's just going somewhere and he has some of his items that he can just put in the pack. It doesn't take up a lot of room. They have the essentials in here, not a lot more, and it just gives him a fighting chance if he ever finds himself in a situation, which would relate to any of us, is putting together a small little kit with the essentials. Now guys, taking a small pouch like this, this is a little Roaring Fire EDC pouch. I mean, it is stuffed, and so you may have something that works better for you. Looking at these contents, it may be something that you have some better ideas about. So please leave them below in the comments. But we can open it up. I'm not trying to fill this up. In fact, I really want it to be as minimal as possible. But one of the big things that I want to show, of course, is having some kind of trauma kit. Now this is a compression gauze. There's some hemostatic quick clot in here, and it's just a really compact little system. This is a stop the bleed system, and it comes in this neoprene sleeve. It's by Filster, and it's one of the things that we carry a lot of times on our range trips because it's so minimal. And then also I have a tourniquet, and we have the cat tourniquet. It is, on a backing, we have it secured, but these are 2 of the most important items that I like to have. This is minimal. I mean, there are other things you could use, but this is to stop the bleed, and that's what we're really after. Now next, I want to have some kind of blade, and this is just a small multi-tool. It is the Micra. It's actually a pair of scissors. There is a knife, a file, some various different tools on here, but having definitely a knife, but having a small pair of scissors could be good too as far as cutting the clothing off. And of course you could have some trauma shears in here. That would be great. But again, we want to keep this kind of minimal. This is great not just for medical, but also for a number of different survival applications. The next thing is a headlamp. This is a little Olight Perron. And I mean, it works as a regular flashlight, even has a clip. You can slip this in your pocket, but also on the headband, it just clips on just like this. You can put this around your head, and what it does, it gives you hands-free. And that is what you want, because you can get your hands free, you can get to whatever you need to. Again, whether it's a medical situation or anything else in a survival situation. And having a light, maybe a couple of extra batteries would be great as well. Next is a fire starter, and this is more toward just regular building a fire, starting fire, keeping warm. Out of the rule of threes, you have 3 hours in harsh conditions. Having a little bit of fire tinder in here would be great as well. But being able to start fire if you need to, being able to signal, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with fire. Even if you need to cook some food, you have a way to at least start fire. And the Bic lighter to me is just the most easy and convenient, possibly a fire steel if you want to go a little more in depth. But, you know, again, put the comments down below on what you'd carry. Now this is a Frontier filter straw, and this is the Pro model. To be honest, I would like to put just the standard filter straw in here instead of the Pro. I like the Pro. It's just so easy to use. There's a lot of good applications for it. But the standard Aquamira filter straw fits really small in here. That's what I like. Because to have my medical kit together, my trauma kit, it's fairly large. So everything else I would like for it to be small, because you're not going to get any smaller than this, at least to be this effective. And so really guys, that's all I do. And you know, again, if you have some other additions, but here's the thing guys, you got to be careful not to make this into too much that you're just not going to carry and too big. You know, if you have your go bag, there you go. But if you just want to grab and go, have the minimal items, the minimal that I would carry is this right here. Especially just running to the store. You know, you have this, you can treat yourself, you can treat your friend or whatever, and you're good to go. And then again, these are supplements. They add to it. They definitely give you some advantages, but honestly, this is the most important. Now guys, one thing I would also add to this pack is a medical patch or medical emblem. That way everyone knows that this is for medical. They can spot it right away. But that would be a smart move, especially if you have trauma supplies or medical supplies in this bag. Now one thing I do want to mention, I just don't have it with me, is having an ankle trauma kit. It's just something that fits around your ankle. Pants leg comes over it. Nobody even knows that it's there. It's something that we definitely use, especially if we're going to events. A lot of times when we are going to the range, we keep those handy because you've got everything right there. Kind of non-intrusive. John Lovell from the Warrior Poet Society, we did a review on his. I know that Medical Gear Outfitters, which is Skinny Medic's website, he also has a setup around your ankle. So that's definitely a good way just to put it around your ankle and go, and no one knows the difference. So again guys, we live in trying times, and it'll definitely try our soul. And sometimes you're going to do things that you wouldn't necessarily do in normal times. But the one thing about this small kit is this can help you in a multitude of situations that are just everyday, in what I like to call your personal SHTF. So put together a kit, have it available. And guys, make sure you keep something close by, because if you find yourself in a life-threatening situation, this could bring you home, or at least get you to the hospital alive. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic.